I'm Yaz from Yorkshire Pooches Therapies, and on today's video we are going to be having a look at supplements. So I'm just going to go through all the supplements that are kind of in my cupboard one by one, tell you why I've got them, what I think to them, and how they can help your dog. So up first we have bone broth. Now I always get this name wrong. I always call it Karnlea, but it's called Karnlea bone broth, okay? There we go. So this is their beef bone broth. I'm just going to read through the packaging. So it's for dogs and cats. And on the front of the packaging it says, a comforting mineral and collagen-rich, slow-cooked broth supporting your pet's gut and joint health. So predominantly when I'm buying supplements, it's usually for joint health. However, all inflammation starts in the gut. So making sure we're taking care of the gut is really important when we're looking at managing joint health. So with bone broth, the reason, I love bone broth. I love lots of different brands of bone broth. It's full of glucosamine and chondroitin, which again is the building blocks for your joints. And also with bone broth, it's very soothing for the gut. So I like to have this branding just because it is shelf stable, firstly. So this is one that you don't have to keep frozen. You can just have that in the cupboard. It's 500 mils, this one. And just looking at the ingredients, it says water, meaty beef bones and apple cider vinegar. The reason they put apple cider vinegar in it is just to help extract the minerals from the bone. So it's not something you should really be tasting, or your dog should be tasting when they have it. It's just a small component of it. Now, with this bone broth, as I said, shelf stable, so that's a plus for me. So this is £9.99 for the 500 ml. Once I've opened this, I try and use it within, let me have a look. Yeah, about 5 days. So storage instructions for this one is once open, refrigerate it, because obviously it's shelf stable when it's sealed, but when you pop it in the fridge, it's not going to be shelf stable anymore. So you've got 5 days to get it used up. You can freeze it and put it into ice cubes, so the same as you would do with any other bone broth. It also explains the consistency, which is what I'm going to go through with you guys. So product will become a thick jelly-like consistency once refrigerated and will return to a liquid form when removed from the fridge for any length of time. Okay, so I have my tiny glass here and I'm going to show you what it looks like cold, and then we'll come back to it later in a separate clip to look at the consistency of it when it's at room temperature. So this particular bottle has been out of the fridge for maybe 5 minutes from me getting it out of the kitchen, coming upstairs, setting up for filming. So I will just show you it being poured in. So you can see it's like really thick jelly consistency. There we go. It's got a slight tinge to it, so it's not see-through. Smell wise, it doesn't really smell of much, to be honest. I do have a dog floating around in here somewhere, so I can see if Lily will do a taste test. Lily, come here then. Oh, good girl. And see what Lily thinks to it. Is that delicious? Good girl. So bone broth is really good for if you have a dog that says has just had surgery, maybe they're on cooked chicken or cooked white fish and some dark green leafy veg. This is a lovely one to kind of reintroduce some good bacteria back into the gut. If you have a dog that has any joint issues, this one's a lovely one to add in. Obviously with bone broth you can make it yourself, and I have made it myself, but I tend to leave it to the professionals, because I don't have the time. It does take quite a while to make bone broth, so you have your slow cooker and you leave it overnight, and then there's the, are you done? Good girl. I think you've got it all. And obviously there's the smell when you're making it, but you can make this yourself, but I like to have at least one of these in the cupboard at all times in case someone's poorly, or it's nice, you know, like warmed through maybe as a little winter warmer for your dogs. So I'm going to pour some more back into there, and then we'll come back to it later and we're going to have a look and see what it looks like at room temperature, because the consistency does change quite a lot. So it looks like that, jelly, jelly, jelly. So I am back with my liquid bone broth. So you can see the viscosity of it has completely changed. So we've gone from that really thick jelly-like consistency to a much thinner liquid. So it's not quite as thin as water, but you can see there has definitely been a change. And that is completely fine for bone broths across the range, from your pre-made ones right through to the ones that you make at home. They are going to be thicker when they're cold, and when they go to room temperature, they're going to be a lot thinner. Now, a couple other additional benefits of bone broth is it's a great way to add hydration into the diet. So, say for example, your dog is a raw fed dog. They get a lot of moisture from their food, but it might be summer and you're wanting to increase that hydration. Utilize bone broth to get that additional liquid into your dog. It could be that you are just wanting something warm to give your dog. You can warm bone broth through, because it is already a cooked product, so you can warm that through into like a little soup. What I would say is that if your dog isn't used to warm liquids, if you make it tepid, or just use the inside of your wrist to check the temperature before offering it to your dogs, because we don't want them to burn their mouths. So I do have a dog floating around here. Lily, 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 good girl. So we'll do another taste test. I think I know what Lily's going to think about this bone broth. Good girl. So bone broth's really good as well for helping with leaky gut. So leaky gut is where we have gaps in the intestinal wall, and that can present itself in a lot of ways across the body. So you could have yeasty skin, you could have increased inflammation in the joints. Now, what I would say is if you are treating anything with your dog, such as yeast or, you know, joint inflammation, anything like that, you do need to be working with a holistic vet with an interest in nutrition. Bone broth is high in histamine just because of the way that it is produced, so it's slow cooked. So I'd always make sure you are working with a holistic vet or someone who has a sound knowledge of holistic fresh nutrition in order to help them. I think that was a winner for Lily. What do you guys think? As you can see, it's very palatable for the dogs. Good girl. So yeah, that is your, not Klarna, Karnlea bone broth. Really good one to have in. Also, if your dog isn't fed a fresh food diet, bone broth is a great way to add in moisture to dry food, and extra nutrition as well to dry food and tinned food as well. But I would recommend having one of these in the cupboard. This one, let me just have a look. I'm just going to move the price sticker and see what the best before date is on it. Okay, so I bought this a couple of days ago, and the best before date is 2024. So this is obviously, if you don't open it, it can stay in the cupboard because it is shelf stable. So there you go, that's your bone broth. I hope that's been of help. Lots of love to you and your dogs, and I'll catch you soon.